Imagine waking up every morning in your own home, in the life you thought was yours, only to realize that for 20 years, everything around you had been a lie. That was my life. My name is Nancy Oliver Smith, and for 2 decades, I slept beside the man I loved, or at least the man I believed I loved. A man who, night after night, slowly erased my reality without me ever realizing it. It all started when I was 18. I was young, full of hope, full of dreams. William was 10 years older, charming, polite, seemingly perfect. He worked at a pharmacy, and everyone trusted him. My parents loved him, and I fell in love with the idea of him. He whispered sweet words, kissed me goodnight, and brought flowers without reason. At first, I thought I had found my forever. That sometimes what looks like love is only the calm before a storm. Before I go any further, I want you to pause for a moment. If you love real-life stories that will grip your heart, scare you, and make you think, subscribe to Grandma Storybook Tales and hit the bell icon, because this story is one you won't forget. And don't forget to like this video. It truly warms my old heart to know I'm sharing my truth with someone out there listening. Back then, everything was quiet, sweet, and soft, but subtle cracks began to appear. Around our 5th anniversary, I started having trouble sleeping. Nights seemed longer, heavier, and my mind refused to rest. William noticed before I did. "A wife who doesn't sleep well cannot take care of herself," he said, smooth as silk. "But don't worry, Nancy, I have the perfect remedy." That night, he brought me a cup of tea. Dark, strong, bitter, with just enough honey to make it palatable. He told me it would help me sleep. I trusted him. After all, he was a pharmacist. I drank it, and almost instantly, I felt my body grow heavy, my thoughts slow. Sleep took me gently, like a feather drifting through fog. That first night, I thought nothing of it. But soon, things began to feel wrong. At first, it was small. A whisper in the hall at midnight, footsteps where no one should be. The faint sound of laughter echoes through the rooms. When I asked him, he smiled, that same gentle smile, so calm, so reassuring. "It's just dreams, Nancy. The tea makes your mind play tricks." And I believed him. Who wouldn't? He was my husband, my love, my life. The tea became a ritual. Every night, exactly at 9, he would hand me the cup. "Drink it all, my dear, to the last drop." Slowly, I could not sleep without it. Slowly, mornings began to feel strange. Perfume lingered in the hallway that wasn't mine. A lipstick I never used appeared on the counter. I asked him, and he always had an explanation. Soft, convincing, impossible to argue with. "It must be a customer at the pharmacy. You worry too much." But deep inside, a tiny spark whispered, a voice he could never extinguish. Something was wrong. Something very, very wrong. Years blurred together. Weeks became months, months became years. My family stopped visiting. William told them it was for my mental health. He whispered to friends that I was forgetful, confused, and losing my memory. The world began to pity me, while I slowly disappeared into the fog he had created. I saw shadows move in the hallways, heard clinking glasses at midnight, women's laughter drifting through walls. Once, I thought I saw him kissing a woman in the living room, but every morning I convinced myself it had been a dream. That was his plan, to slowly steal my sanity, to make me doubt my own mind, to make me feel insane. You cannot fight a monster when you believe you are the one going crazy. The nights became unbearable. I felt my body sink into the mattress, paralyzed, while my mind drifted between sleep and waking terror. I longed to scream, to cry, to run, but the small voice inside me whispered patience. And that voice survived where my strength had faded. Then everything changed. One day in 1991, I fell in the kitchen and hurt my hip.
For the first time in decades, I spent nights in hospital without the tea. The first night was sheer terror. My hands trembled, my body shook. I cried myself to sleep. My mind screamed and twisted like a storm inside my skull. But by the third night, something miraculous happened. My thoughts cleared. A fog I had lived in for 20 years lifted. For the first time, I remembered myself. A kind nurse named Joni noticed my clarity. She leaned close and whispered, "Maybe you should skip that tea for a while, Mrs. Smith." And I did. That one act, refusing a single cup, became the spark of a fire that had been smoldering inside me for decades. Returning home, I pretended to be the same obedient, confused Nancy. I accepted the tea, but poured it into a flower pot. The plant slowly withered, but I watched it proudly, because that small act of defiance was mine alone. And then, one night, I saw him. He called someone on the phone, whispering, "You can come now, she's taken the dose." And then she arrived, the red-haired woman I had glimpsed years ago. They laughed, they drank wine from our wedding glasses, dined like I was invisible. And I sat, paralyzed, pretending to sleep. The truth shattered me. For 20 years, my husband had been drugging me to live a double life right in front of me. I was a ghost in my own home. My husband, my jailer. Fear turned to fire. I began to collect proof, old pharmacy bottles, hidden receipts, documents. Then came the folder in his office, fake medical reports, claiming I had early dementia. He had planned to send me away, sell everything, disappear with her. But I did not panic. I planned. The next time he left for a business trip, I copied every document, every photo, every shred of evidence. Then I called my niece,
Jennifer, a lawyer. "I'm not crazy. I've been drugged for 20 years. Please help me." That phone call, the first sound of my own voice in 2 decades, felt like sunlight piercing through a lifetime of darkness. Jennifer came the next day. We packed my bag, hid the evidence, and left that house forever. Sunlight on my face had never felt sweeter. William tried to report me missing, but the evidence spoke louder than his lies. He went to prison. The doctor lost his license. The red-haired woman tried to flee to Canada, but was caught. Justice, slow as it was, finally came. Starting over at 53 was terrifying. The world had changed. Phones, computers, even the way people spoke felt alien. But I studied, learned, healed. I opened a small clinic, then founded the Awakening Institute, a sanctuary for women silenced by the people they trusted most. Every time a woman looked at me with tears in her eyes and whispered, "You made me believe I could leave," a piece of my broken soul began to stitch itself back together. Years later, I heard William had died in prison. I didn't celebrate. I didn't cry. I poured myself a cup of tea, my own choice, and whispered, "This time I drink for me." The real awakening wasn't the night I escaped. It was every morning after, choosing to live, to forgive myself, to help others step out of the shadows. Sometimes the smallest rebellion, one cup of tea refused, can become the loudest scream for freedom. Sometimes the life you rebuild after surviving 20 years of silence is far more beautiful than the one you lost. And if you're listening to this right now, I want you to know something. There may be someone out there drinking her own cup of poison, thinking she's safe. Maybe she needs to hear this story tonight. So please subscribe to Grandma's Storybook Tales and share this video with someone who might need courage. Because I survived 20 years of being invisible, of being silenced, of being betrayed by someone I loved. And if I can find my voice, so can anyone. The nights are still quiet sometimes. The shadows still whisper, but I am no longer afraid. I am awake. I am alive, and I will tell my story over and over until every voice silenced finds its sound again.